Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. I'm JeremyInternational. I guess we can call this the advice stream, although it's been a long time since we've done the advice stream, and this is going to be a little different type of content than we've done before, new content. Um, I see that Jugsy's back. Hey Jugsy, I was hoping that you'd be here. It's been so long since I've done a stream. There's been a lot going on. And my goal for today, we'll get into some more business related to the show in a minute, but my goal for today is to go through my record collection over here and pare it down a little bit because I'm getting ready to move and I'd like to have less stuff to bring with me. And I have an awful lot of records I'm probably not going to listen to anytime soon. So I'm going to pare those down. But yeah, it's been a while. I'm hoping to be streaming more often again soon. But this might be the only time I'm streaming before I move. So when I'm moving, I don't know, but probably soon-ish. And I'll have a whole new setup and I'll be streaming more. So that'll be exciting. But so this is probably more like a one-off. But just to go through all the bits and pieces, let's go ahead and say this is the advice stream. I'm your host, Jeremy International. The advice stream is the only stream, as far as I know, where we normally play old video games and we dish advice, relationship advice, whatever you want. Your computer's not working the right way, you can ask me that too. You got questions about, I don't know, like Chekhov or Russian ballet or something, I might be able to help you with that also. So you can push the button. Thanks, Jugsy. I'm enjoying the mustache too myself. You can go on over to JeremyInternational.com, and there it's working. And submit questions there if you'd like to. I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of people in attendance tonight, but you never know. I am also out of my studio. So if you see me looking down, that's where my iPad is. I can see comments coming in through there, but like looking at streaming numbers or whatever, I'm not going to be able to do that during the stream. That's fine. We're not playing any games tonight. We're just going to be looking at records, talking about music. Jugsy, if you have a favorite album of all time, I'd love to hear what it is. We'll be going through certainly a number of my favorite albums, and maybe if I can think of a relevant or interesting story to tell when we get to them, I'll share those with you too. I am currently drinking the classic cocktail. This is a Pepsi and Maker's Mark. Don't ask me why I have a 2-liter Pepsi in my house. That's not something that I chose, but it's here anyways. And you know, that's not bad. I mean, it'd be better with Coca-Cola, of course, but Pepsi's fine. If anyone from the Pepsi corporation's at home listening right now, I will absolutely say that Pepsi's great, and it's my choice over Coca-Cola anytime, you know, for money. Otherwise, I'm going to say that Coke is my preference. But I don't have Coke today. I don't have Basil Hayden's today. I got Pepsi and I got Maker's Mark, and that's what I'm going with. And this is fine. It's fine. So we will be sipping on that as we go along. All right, well, Jugsy, thanks for joining in. I hope you hang out for a little bit. Wow, Jugsy says Pepsi Max is my favorite cola. I don't know what Pepsi Max is. Is that like Pepsi with extra caffeine? Because I'm not against that as a concept. That might push me over to the Pepsi community. Actually Doritos, but it's harder to find. I don't know what Doritos are. Those like Doritos? Is that Doritos flavored Pepsi? Because that I don't think I would drink that, although I do love Doritos. Crisp Pepsi. It is actually more like Maker's Mark and Pepsi as opposed to Pepsi Maker's Mark, if you know what I mean. Max is the no sugar extra caffeine. What's in it in replace of the sugar? Because there's some artificial sweeteners that are not friends with my tummy. So depending on what's in there, could they just make it with sugar and extra caffeine? Because that sounds way better. That sounds better for me than for anybody else. So I got a lot of records. I want to have less. So some I might sell on the internet. I might set some aside to try to sell. Some I'll probably have to donate at my local Goodwill or something. And some can be yours if you're local or want to pay for postage for me to ship you a record. Otherwise, it's for free. If I'm going through any of my don't keeps, and anyone out there, if more people come in, or Jugsy too, although Jugsy is like in Australia, right? Jugsy, that shipping's going to be a lot of money for that. But if you see a record you really want and you'll pay for shipping, then I'll send it to you. But you gotta pay for shipping. And I'd imagine sending a record to Australia is not cheap. So I have my records organized, and I'm going to start by going through some version of 70s rock. Although the first few records here are records I took. My grandparents had a big record collection, and when my grandmother passed away a couple years ago, I got a bunch of hers. One record that I will always keep when I find one is anything by Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass Band. We'll always keep a record. I don't need duplicates, of course. But I think this was my grandparents, and I will keep it because Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass Band slaps hard. This has got Zorba the Greek. Oh, hearing the Tijuana Brass Band play Zorba the Greek, I bet, is great. Yeah, so that's a keeper, is Going Places by Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass Band. Will keep. This is opera favorites. I don't know anything about opera. It looks very old. It did belong to my grandparents. I'm going to put this in keep for now. Maybe I'll come back around to it later. This is, oh yeah, this is some kind of ska album that my grandparents had. Look at this. I'll keep that too. I'm probably going to have a problem keeping too many. Yeah, Jugsy, I have an okay, not great record setup. I have I can't remember the brand record player I have, but it's a nice record player, and it has USB out because sometimes I find something obscure that's not on any of the streaming services. I can digitize that. One of the great things about Apple Music, by the way, is you can get all of the streaming content from Apple Music, but then you can add your own content in too and just stream that from your own little cloud library. So I've done that a number of times with vinyl that I found that streaming services don't have, that I can digitize and send it in. It's a nice record player, and then I have a, hold on, I have to go look. Wait, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Yeah, I have a Audio Technica turntable, and then just a big Marshall speaker that it's connected to. And that's always been what I've had, and that's been fine for me in whatever living space. I've never lived in a big, like a big room that I needed to fill with music. Maybe someday I'll get something more complicated, more high-end than that, but that's always been sufficient for my needs. And I really like the idea of having at least the option to digitize vinyl into a computer through USB if I need to. And that's what I've done. Okay, this next album is definitely a keeper. Heart Like a Wheel by Linda Ronstadt. This is probably like a top 20 album for me. If I don't know what else to say about Linda Ronstadt. You know, Linda Ronstadt was in the movie version of Pirates of Penzance that came out when I was a kid. Hugely influential movie for me in a lot of different ways. Kevin Kline, Angela Lansbury. It's a hoot. And if you haven't seen it, you should see that movie. And Linda Ronstadt's in it. This is also, God, I'm not going to be able to get rid of any goddamn records, am I? That's too bad. This is the Alan Parsons Project, I, Robot, also great prog rock album. And I'm keeping this too. Have I gotten to any album I'm not going to keep? Probably not, but I definitely am keeping that one. This is a Vinyl Me Please release. I used to subscribe to them back when I was buying records, a lot of Nebraska by Springsteen. Keeper for sure on that one. Um, Boy, am I ever going to get rid of anything? Here is the soundtrack to the Rolling Stone Rock and Roll Circus. This is an amazing film documentary and like a concert documentary, and a great soundtrack. Lots of artists on this. My favorite parts of this are, I think the best version of A Quick One While He's Away by The Who is on this soundtrack, the best version of that song I've ever heard. And there's a whole bunch of Taj Mahal. Never really got into Taj Mahal before I saw this movie, and now I'm super into Taj Mahal, who's just a great, great old timey rock and roll dude. So this is also Keeper. Please, though, if you haven't seen the film Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus, check it out. It's great. John Lennon's in it, of course, the Stones and the Who. Cool film. Definitely. Yeah, Jugsy, the Who, I mean, the Who's always, well, maybe not currently, but was always great at that time. And, you know, like just these like big, like operatic, like songs with multiple characters and they're telling a story. And A Quick One While He's Away does that amazingly well. And their version on this album in that movie is such a cool version of that song. Have you ever seen, oh, that's Doug that said that. Hey, Doug, PG Doug's here. Doug, have you ever seen the Rolling Stones Rock Roll Circus? We should watch that together sometime. Doug, PG Doug's local. So PG Doug can come over and we could watch a movie if we wanted to. And the Rock and Roll Circus, Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus is great. Just, gosh, keep going through the records that I'm not going to get rid of, I guess. This is Frankie Valli. Frankie Valli, you probably mostly know from singing like that main song from Grease, which is the first track on this. And this whole album is also so good. Frankie Valli and Grease. This is also a keeper. Doug says, yes, it was a big deal when it premiered on VH1. I think I kind of remember that, Doug, when that first showed on VH1. I think I do. Also, this is a Record Store Day from 2021. Exclusive, this really nice picture record of Pearl by Janis Joplin. I never heard this album before. I bought this at Record Store Day 2021 and came home and listened to it. And this album blew my mind. Such a good record. I don't know if this is worth any money or not. It was a Record Store Day exclusive. It might be, but I'm keeping it anyways. Janis stays. Velvet Underground, of course, stays. And I'm never going to get rid of a single record. Songs of Love and Hate by Leonard Cohen, of course, stays. This is also records, Black Friday too. So this is the anniversary of some year that I bought that. Next up, I have a bunch of Pink Floyd. Now, here's a little thing about me, is I never got into Pink Floyd. I never got into them. And I don't know if I have a good reason to, but I'm going to keep all of these too, because I'm going to hold out hope that someday I'm going to have a special evening and listen to, there's several records in here, listen to a whole bunch of Pink Floyd. So I will keep those, although I've just come across the first record I'm going to get rid of, and that is this Grace Slick solo album. I found this cheap at a used record store. The cover's so cool. Grace Slick was such a badass. But I'm not going to listen to it regularly. Sorry to say, Grace, you got a lot of hits under your belt, and maybe even some of them are on this. But I got to draw the line somewhere, so Grace has got to go. Next up, this is a keeper, The Grand Illusion by Styx. Styx, I know, gets like a lot of like jokes or whatever, but Styx is one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time. And this is one of the greatest albums of all time, Grand Illusion. If you haven't heard it, you should. And if you're a Styx hater, then up your nose, because you shouldn't be, because they're amazing, amazing, amazing band. Grand Illusion. Hey, Ragnarok, really frightened me that you were going to ditch the Floyd. Yeah, I never got into Floyd. I've tried several times. I've been in an altered state at a few Dark Side of the Moon laser shows, even, and just couldn't get into it. But I think that's a me problem. It's not a Floyd problem. I will keep the Floyd, and someday, maybe once I moved and settled in my new place, I will make a night out of it, and maybe I'll have some inspiration and finally give a shit about Pink Floyd. Maybe. Let's hope. PG Doug says someone in our country has a Styx, and our county has a Styx vanity plate. Who's that? That person must be super cool. This is the Doors by the. The Doors. You got to be in the mood for the Doors. But when I'm in the mood for the Doors, I am really, really in the mood for the Doors. This is, I'm pretty sure, the Doors' first album. This is also Vinyl Me Please release. And they always do a really, really good job at Vinyl Me Please. So this is a keeper. I've gone through and gotten rid of one record, though, so far. The Wild Heart by Stevie Nicks. This is, I think, Stevie's second album, and it's the one that's got Stand Back on it. Man, I have danced myself into a mess to Stand Back by Stevie Nicks many times. So that is a keeper as well. This is Veden Fleece, I think I'm pronouncing that right, by Van Morrison. Also, this is like a top 10, maybe even, records for me. Big Van Morrison fan, although I think in IRL, he's not a great dude. I enjoy and am oftentimes moved by his music very much. So this is a keeper. Let's reorganize here. Oh yeah. So this is Rumors, which of course is probably top 5 favorite albums for me. But this is an alternate version. It's the same track list in the same order, but they're different versions. They're alternate versions of every song. And it's like listening to Rumors for the first time again. I don't know if there's easy ways to listen to this otherwise, or if this was vinyl only, or if it's streaming or whatever. But if you love Fleetwood Mac, if you love Rumors, if you don't love Rumors, what's wrong with you? You should try to find a way to listen to this. It's just called The Alternate Rumors. And same songs, same track list, different versions, different recordings of every song on it, and is wonderful. I don't think I have vinyl of the actual normal release for Rumors, which is wild. What else we got? We got some Creedence. I do love Creedence, but is this a Creedence album I need? I'm putting this in the maybe pile. We'll see. If I can get rid of more records, then I'll keep it. But if I'm struggling to get rid of enough, I will. A Night at the Races by Queen. Here's my take on Queen. Queen's got a lot of great songs and not a lot of great albums. And this is one of their bigger deal albums. It's the Vinyl Me Please Essential. I'm putting this in maybe too. I don't know. I don't love this album all the way through, although it's got a couple good songs on it. We will keep this Elton John record for sure. That's a keeper. I have been feeling the Elton John lately. PG Doug sent me a picture of a license plate that says Styx, spelled the same way that the band does. Maybe there's like a hardcore Styx fan around here. Okay, well, here's a bunch more Creedence. And these are albums that I prefer more. Green River and Bayou Country. So I'm definitely keeping these because I really do love, I don't listen to enough Creedence. I really do love me some Creedence. So we're keeping those. That one's not mine. I feel like Led Zeppelin is also an album. This is 4, right? Isn't that this one? 4. So say it on the sleeve. It does not. I got to be in the mood for some Zeppelin, and sometimes I am. And when I am, it's for this record for sure, as opposed to any of the other ones. So I feel like this is like a seminal record from the '70s. So I'll keep it because I will listen to it sometimes. We got some Toto. Such a great album cover. I'm not going to keep this though. Toto's great. I'll say the best work Toto ever did is Toto did the score for David Lynch's Dune, which I also think I have on vinyl. I'll keep that one. I'm going to get rid of that Toto though. We got, I don't know however you pronounce this, by Steely Dan. Steely Dan took me a while to get into, but I'm totally feeling the Steely Dan these days. So this is a keeper. I know this is riveting to see me go through. We got more Styx. Definitely keeping all of my Styx record. Pieces of 8 is the name of this album, and this is the one that's got Renegade on it. Man, Renegade's such a good song. So I'm keeping that. Bob Seger, keeping that. Oh yeah, Paul Williams. I need to get a better sleeve for this. This is torn. Definitely keeping Paul Williams. I've listened to this album once and got really into it, but never listened to it again. Paul Williams, if you don't know, is this guy. He's a character actor. He's been in a bunch of stuff you've seen before, but he's also a very well-established music writer and wrote a lot of the songs that the Carpenters performed. He wrote The Rainbow Connection that Kermit the Frog sings in the Muppet movie and a million other places. And most dear to my heart is he did the soundtrack to Phantom of the Paradise, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. And this sounds like kind of all of that stuff mixed together, if you can imagine, because that's Paul Williams. So that is a keeper. Ragnarok says that Toto's soundtrack is absolutely magical, mystical, transcendent. Are you talking, Ragnarok, are you talking about the David Lynch Dune soundtrack? Because I 100% agree with you on that. With that part when where Muad'Dib and the other guy like finally get on top of the big worm, and there's just like this like face melting guitar solo that plays over that. It's one of my favorite scenes in a movie of all time. Big fan. I like the new Dune too. Don't get me wrong, but that that particular Dune is a keeper. Okay, so that's my 70s rock, although I have a couple subcategories that are spread around. The next up I have is my country section. Sometimes we're all a little bit country, and I have some country records that I'm going to want to keep. Also, particularly this one by B.W. Stevenson. He's got that song. There's a bunch of good songs on this. What's that song called? Maria, My Maria. Yeah, he like yodels on it. I like a little bit of country music every once in a while. Dolly Parton, Coat of Many Colors. That's an essential Dolly Parton record. Keeping Coal Miner's Daughter by Loretta Lynn. Love this album. Listen to it a lot. Probably my favorite country record of all time, though. I don't listen to a lot of country music, let's be real, but I do listen sometimes, is Shotgun Willie by Willie Nelson. This album is so good. Weirdly, like has kind of like a funky bass line in a lot of the songs. Great record. Whether you like country or not, Shotgun Willie, Willie Nelson, check it out. It's a good one. Got Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison. That's an essential record. That's the keeper. And then Jolene by Dolly Parton, also a good one for sure. Keeper. What I don't know is if I should keep this other Dolly Parton record that I never listened to. Heartbreak Express. Yeah, I'm going to keep it. I don't have a lot of country anyways. Okay, so that, as they say, is that. Let me just organize a little bit over here. A little bit more. And I'm going to put these away, and then we'll move on to other categories. Just a moment, please. I have to shift around. PG Doug says, have you heard Barefoot Jerry? No, I don't know what that is. What's Barefoot Jerry? Is that another Willie Nelson record? Because that certainly sounds like it could be a Willie Nelson record. But I don't know what that is. PG Doug, you should enlighten me, please. And then we'll do all of these back in there. Barefoot Jerry also sounds like it could be an episode of Seinfeld. And okay, so I have a couple other miscellaneous things that I just kind of crammed in here without a lot of organization. And I'm going to take those out and we're going to go through these first. This is some video game soundtracks. I'm not going to keep most of these because I find like I don't listen to them a lot. This is the soundtrack to Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the video game. This is a really great beat 'em up game, but I'm not going to keep that soundtrack. For some reason, I have shuffled in here the Violent Femme self-titled album. That is a keeper for sure. So I'm putting that here. And then we'll do, oh yeah, I forgot about this. This is an album called Switched On, A Link to the Past. It's the soundtrack to The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, which is the Super Nintendo Zelda game, my probably favorite video game of all time. And this is like the soundtrack to it. And it's wonderful. And I'm keeping that. That is something I will listen to often. This is the soundtrack to the original Castlevania game that I also have and do listen to often. But I'm not going to keep the soundtrack to Mother 2, which was released as Earthbound for the Super Nintendo in the US. I'm not going to keep the soundtrack to Another World, which is one of my favorite video games ever, but not a soundtrack I would listen to regularly. And I'm going to have to put on the fence the soundtrack to Super Mario Brothers 3. Because first off, this is expensive and I might be able to sell it for a few bucks, but also really great soundtrack. If you're doing busy work around the house, something really great to listen to. So I'm going to set that aside and think about it. 50s. Wow, I only have 2 records in my 50s section. And that is this famous Elvis record, which is a keeper, and Go Champs Go. I love this album. I listen to this a lot. It's just like instrumental, like surf rock. This is what Tequila is off of, if you know Tequila. But this whole record's really fun, and I love it. So that is a keeper. 60s, we've got this Yardbirds record, which I never listened to, and I'm gonna put in the get rid of. this Cream record, which I don't know about Cream, man. It's got White Room. This is the album that White Room is from. I'll keep it. And then this Kinks record, which I will keep. And then also, The Shadows of the Night. This album is also great. Super rad album. This is, if you've heard Gloria, which has been covered a million times, this is their version of it. Written by Van Morrison. I didn't know that. So that's Keeper. We've gotten rid of some. We're making a little bit of progress. This is my folk music section now. And this is probably one of those sections that I'm going to be a little aggressive with. Although I'll start by saying I will keep Blonde on Blonde because that is an album I like. This is kind of all over the place time-wise. This is Quiet is the New Loud by the Kings of Convenience. I goddamn love the Kings of Convenience. And this album is really, really good. So that is a keeper. If anyone out there is a Kings of Convenience stan, let me know. PG Doug says, I think they have country studio musicians in the 70s that did a few records. Barefoot Jerry. I'll check it out, PG Doug. Thank you. Mamas and the Papas. Yes. So Far by Crosby, Stills, and Nash. That is a big yes. This album has one of my favorite songs on it, which is Wooden Ships. One of my hot take controversial musical opinions is that Wooden Ships, even though it's Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young, that Wooden Ships is a heavy metal song. I'm willing to fight you about that. Listen to it and tell me that it's not. That is a keeper for sure. Here is a Donovan record. What tracks are on this Donovan record? Does it have? Nah, getting rid of this Donovan record. Paul Simon, Graceland. That is a yes, even though it's got a little cultural appropriation on it. Sound of Silence. If anyone ever listens to music and enjoys it, this is a record that should be in everyone's collection, is The Sounds of Silence. So good. The Times They Are A-Changing, that's a keep. Another Donovan record. Probably not keep. Odetta, keep. I think that might have been my parents. Cat Stevens, yes, for sure. Keep the Cat Stevens. Tears for the Tillerman, great album. Music of the Ozarks. What is this? This was probably belonged to my grandparents. From the National Geographic Society. I'll keep that. Look at this guy. What's he doing? I don't know. And then also more Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water. Keep. Have you guys seen this trick with this album when you go? Hold on. Can I do it? What if I do it like, it looks like Garfunkel has a big, like, Chicago police officer mustache. There we go. We got it. That's funny, right? That's funny. That's got to be funny. That's got to make somebody laugh out there. Tell me that that's funny. What else do I have here? So another section that is not big, but that I only have 2 records in, and I will keep them both, is this Africa Brazil, which is super great. I've listened to this a few times. This is Vinyl Me Please. And then this is the whatchamacallit, Buena Vista Social Club. 2 great records. I'm keeping those. Then we have my one, because I'm categorizing, because that's what I do. And now I have a reggae section that only has one album in it. If you're going to have one reggae album, it should be Exodus by Bob Marley. And I do, and I will. So that's not going anywhere. Now is, this is going to be a hard decision to make. Now is jazz. I struggle with jazz. Like getting into it and listening to it and enjoying it. But some jazz I like, and I have those records, so I will likely keep most of these. This is Sonny Rollins, and I have listened to this only once or twice, but I liked it, I know, so I will keep it. If anyone out there is super into jazz and wants to tell me some jazz I should listen to, I'm always open for suggestions, but I don't hear a lot of jazz that I like. So let me know. I don't know why this is in there. Dream of Blue Turtles by Sting. Is this jazz? I don't know. Should I keep it? No. Ooh, Squirrel Nut Zippers. That's jazz, right? I think. I like this album. Keep it. More Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass Band. Keep. Those are always fun. Keeping all of those. Herbie Hancock. This is the album that Rocket is off of. Do I like any of the rest of this album? No. So that's going to be a not keep for me. Sorry, Herbie. Chet Baker, that's a keep. I also have listened to this and I enjoy it. So that's a keeper. And then this Billie Holiday record, which I also like and I will keep. So I got rid of a couple more. We've got some classical records. I'm going to keep all of those too. So let me put these back and then we can shift up to the upper section and keep going. I'm making a little bit of progress. If this is going to follow what I've previously done with my movie collection, then I'm probably going to need to make another pass before I finalize my choice, because I betcha that I can circle back around here and find some more records to get rid of. Okay, moving along. I don't know what this category up here is. One is this is the story of Gremlins on vinyl, and yes, that's a keeper, obviously. I will keep that. This is a record by someone I follow on Instagram that I really like. I will keep that. T-Rex, Electric Warrior, sorry, gosh. Also a seminal album for me. That is a keeper. Yeah, I'm all out of sorts here. I am not organized correctly. This is Roxy Music's self-titled album, also a keeper. Anything related to Roxy Music or Brian Ferry, I will be keeping. That is a non-negotiable. Soundtrack to Phantom of the Paradise we just talked about. This was actually really hard for me to find. I think it cost me a bit of money. So that is a keeper. Everything's so disorganized here. Belladonna by Stevie Nicks. This is also probably top 5 albums of all time for me. Very important to me as a person record, and I listen to this often. So that is a keep. More Van Morrison. This is Moondance, also keep. I said before that Van Morrison is great, and I enjoy. This is an album by a band called Quilt that I saw live once. I think it's self-titled. They're like really like folky, but also kind of like, I don't know, like trancey a little bit. I really like them a lot, and I will keep that. Interpol, that's probably a keeper. What else? This is a St. Vincent record. I enjoy St. Vincent, I really do. But do I need it? Do I need to listen to it? Am I going to listen to it regularly? I don't know. That's going to go in the maybe. Grizzly Bear. Yeah, keep. Phoenix. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I keep Phoenix? No, I'm not going to listen to this on vinyl, am I? I am not. Get rid of that. But the New Pornographers, this is a keep. I love this album so much. Such a good album. Together by the New Pornographers. So good. Listen to it a lot. Keep. The Slater-Kinney album. Yeah, I'll keep this. Oh man, I'm doing terrible. I'm not getting rid of anything. I'm not getting rid of anything at all. This Rat-a-Tat record I will also keep. I bought this at Amoeba Music in San Francisco 1,000 years ago, and still listen to it sometimes. Very like early 2000s. Super dated. If you weren't there, you might not be into it, but I am for sure. This Block Party record, I don't love Block Party. This is not a keep. Although this Dandy Warhol's record is a keep for sure. This is not my favorite Dandy Warhol's record. The one that came out immediately before this is, but that's, at least last time I looked, was pretty hard to find on vinyl. And this is also very good album. I love that album. Queens of the Stone Age, I will keep. Yeah, the Sea Change by, isn't the Sea Change? Yeah, by Beck also. Perfect album. Love this record. Am also definitely going to keep that. Let's see. What is this? Oh yeah, no, I've listened to this before. This is just like instrumental, like party music. And it's all super fun. I'm gonna keep this. Grimes is a keep for sure. Put that over there. Definitely keeping Grimes. Oh yeah. Yuck. Do you guys know Yuck? This is like, this came out, what year did this come out? This has come out like in the last 10 years. And it sounds so like 1996 in a really, really good way. I also am a big, big fan of this record, Yuck. That is a keeper. Twin Peaks, I gotta get rid of something. I'm getting rid of this. Get out of the box, cat. What else we have? The Strokes, their first two records, keeping. If you were there, you know. I have no idea, PG Doug. PG Doug asks, did the singer of Yuck just win an Emmy for a score? I have no idea. I actually know almost nothing about Yuck except that I like that one record, and I haven't heard any news about the Emmys. That'd be super rad if they did. The score for what? I'd be curious to know. This is a video game soundtrack. I'm gonna see, I think I might know someone that wants to keep this. This is a soundtrack to Animal Crossing, the most recent Animal Crossing that came out on the Switch. And I think I know someone that wants this. I'm not gonna keep it. But it's super fun. If you played that game at all, there's lots of music in that game. And so I think I might know someone that wants that. And then we're going to look at, this is also a keeper, Foolish Things by Brian Ferry. This is a cover album. Brian Ferry, the lead singer from Roxy Music. and he's covering a whole bunch of songs that he has no business covering. Like It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to, and Piece of My Heart, that Janis Joplin song. And he does them in super weird ways, but it somehow still works. And this is one of those albums that I love. This album very much. It's an important record to me. And anytime I share this with someone and they listen to it, they're always like, this is a joke, right? There's no way anyone could possibly like this record. But I do. I'm the person that likes it. What is this? Oh yeah, this is an Inhaler album. This was given to me by my sister. Inhaler is a band that Bono from U2's son is in, and it's actually pretty good. I don't know why I said actually. Why wouldn't it be? I like this. I'm going to keep it. It was also a gift from my sister, so I'm definitely keeping that. And we have a little stretch here of albums that belong to people that I know that are all great. These are all a few bands that are friends. I've got a bunch of North Country records. Maybe there are people from the North Country watching at home right now. I don't know. I love it when my friends make music, first off. And then secondly, when they make music on vinyl, because I'll absolutely buy that. And that is my preferred way to listen to music, especially if I want it to feel special. So I'm keeping all of my friends' records for sure. Moving along. Oh boy, do I have some good music in here that I'm never going to be able to get rid of? Am I? I'm just going to grab a stack. We'll do these in stacks. Also, an album that's probably in my top 5 different class by Pulp. That is an essential for me. Definitely keeping. I also love Stereolab. This is Emperor Tomato Ketchup. Also, just a great like mingling with people record. Like if you're having people over and you want to have a little bit of music in the background that like people hear and listen to, and it feels something or want to comment on it, but also can still like have a conversation. This is a great album for that. Emperor Tomato Ketchup by Stereolab. Also an essential record for me. I know that I've probably said this is a top 10 and then listed more than 10 records, but you know, that's how music is sometimes. This is also an album that was such a big deal to me in college, and I still love this album. I listen to it not as often as I should. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right, but this is Hagness to Hill by Kent. Also such a good album, and just brings me right back to a really particular and pretty positive and fun time in my life. If you haven't heard Kent before, they're Swedish, I think, and they kind of sound, they're like a little bit like early Radiohead, but like a little bit more European, like continental European, if that makes sense. Such a good record. I have one Red Hot Chili Peppers record in my collection for some reason. I don't know why, and it is One Hot Minute. I actually like this record a lot. I don't love a lot of what else the Red Hot Chili Peppers are doing, but you know, I got to get rid of something. I'm not going to keep this one. Same here. This is Sigur Rós. And they're great. Do I keep? Goes in maybe. I need to think about that. What's the Story? Morning Glory. This is a keep by Oasis. Love this record so much. So good. This is an essential for me. And this is Soft Bullet by the Flaming Lips. You know, I'm not going to keep this one. It looks so cool. I bet I can also get a couple bucks for this if I sell it on the internet. So that's not a keeper, unfortunately. Sorry, Flaming Lips. But you know what is a keeper? Another essential record for me. Title by Fiona Apple. Come on, this album is amazing. And we should all be listening to it more often. Wow, so the guy from Yuck did the score to The Brutalist? Really? That's wild. I did not know that. I haven't seen The Brutalist. It's got, what's his name in it? And I always like him in movies. What's that guy's name? Portishead. That is Maybe I'm putting that aside for somebody else. The Deftones, I'm not going to keep that. That is a get away. Odelay by Beck, also amazing album. I remember when this record came out, like it was yesterday. I had it on CD. I had like a Discman, and I had a job cutting grass in a big outdoor space, a lot of like all day cutting grass kind of job at a local zoo in my hometown. And I put my Discman headphones on over my ear protectors and would listen to this on repeat because I didn't really have any other CDs I could bring with me. And I just listened to this. This was like the summer, I want to say, of 97, probably. When did this come out? Well, it was remastered in 2016. That's not helpful to me. If anyone in the chat wants to Google when Odelay by Beck came out, it was that summer. 96 or 97, I'm going to guess. And that was my whole summer. And it was really hard work being outside in the heat. And I remember all my memories of that are super fond because of how great that album is. We're keeping this, right? 9 Inch Nails, Pretty Hate Machine. We keep that, I think. Yeah, keep it. A few more in this section. PJ Harvey. Do I? 96. Thanks, PG Doug. Well, that was the summer then. It wasn't 97. It was 96. I was 1 year off. That was my summer of 96. And I made almost no money. Sometimes, like cutting the grass, or like going with the weed whacker, I remember sometimes I'd hit a frog. I didn't mean to, of course. It was an accident, and I just get like hit with like frog guts. That was so gross. I'll keep PJ Harvey. This is another Dandy Warhol's record. I'll keep this. This is Ride. I think I know someone that wants that. I will put that aside for them. Elliott Smith. I'm not going to keep that. I will put that aside for somebody else. Dinosaur Jr. I don't even think that's mine. The Bends by Radiohead, I will keep. Oh man, another underappreciated album from the 90s is First Band on the Moon by the Cardigans. So good. They had one really massive hit off of this, Love Fool. And Love Fool doesn't really sound like the rest of the album does. And I think that song was really just like poppy and kind of bubblegummy, and it turned people off. But this is such a good album. This is an essential album for me as well. We, of course, have the Blue Album by Weezer. We could say a lot of different things about Weezer today in 2025, but this album changed my life when I listened to it I was probably a freshman in high school. I'm going to guess 1993. Somewhere around then. And it changed my life. I never heard music that felt like it was written for me before. And this whole album still feels that way. It's made in the Netherlands. They make records in the Netherlands. So obviously this is a keeper. This might be the only Weezer album I have. I think it is. And then also another keeper, a also underappreciated album from the 90s. This is Resident Alien by Space Hog. They were a one-hit wonder. In the Meantime was their big hit. If you search for that, if you don't know what it is, it'd probably sound familiar to you. But this whole album's really good. Space Hog. Keepin'. Okay, now I need to go back and reorganize. Hold on just a moment, please. Just a moment. If anyone else is out there and you were there and you remember, what are your favorite albums from the 90s that I haven't mentioned? I know PG Doug's got some, I'm sure. But I'd always love to hear that because I have gone over most of mine. putting these away. I'm going to keep this Cigar Rose album, I decided. And then we're gonna, who knows? Eventually, before I move, I'll need to like safely box up these records to, for the move. But I'm really just focusing right now, before I even start packing, I'm just gonna focus on like paring down, if that makes sense. Okay, just doing a little bit of housekeeping here. I'm going to keep that and keep this and get rid of these. That feels right to me. All right, well, so this next category is just going to be David Bowie. And I imagine, unless I have duplicates, I'm probably going to keep all of these. We're a pro David Bowie house here. What is your favorite David Bowie record? That is the question. I feel like I used to be, here, hold on. I'm going to do it like this. This is my journey as a David Bowie fan. Okay. First I was like this, hunky dory. Then I was like this, low. And now I'm like this, Heroes. Heroes is it for me. Obviously David Bowie has many records that are all amazing, but Heroes takes the cake for me. This is my preferred Bowie, in my opinion. PG Doug says, I shouldn't encourage you to keep more, but the Soft Bulletin is such a great album. I know, PG Doug, I know. Thank you. I have time. I'll go through my get rid of box eventually. I'll go through it again before I make any decisions I can't come back from. But I'm definitely keeping all of these David Bowies for sure. David Bowie doesn't go anywhere. And then I also have a separate section for the Smashing Pumpkins. Let me tell you a story about the Smashing Pumpkins. I don't know what that is. So this is Siamese Dream, and this is a special remaster of it. You can see how pretty this is. It's 2 discs. This is a keeper for me for sure. Siamese Dream is also probably top five record for me. Oh boy, I am running out of battery on my iPad already. I might need to wrap this up kind of soon. Siamese Dream. But what a lot of people don't talk about is Siamese Dream was the Smashing Pumpkins' first hit, but their first album is Gish. Gish came out like right around the time Nevermind did Nirvana's big breakout album. And because Nevermind was so big, that Gish kind of got lost in the background. And this album is also so good. Not enough people talk about Gish. I'm also keeping that. And then probably the most expensive I've ever paid for a record before is Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. It is 4 records. It was 2 CDs when it came out. And this album is pretentious by a big mile. And I'd imagine if you weren't there when it came out, you might not care about it, but I was 100% there, and I care about it very much. If someone listened to Siamese Dream and said, this is terrible and I can't listen to it all the way through, I'd be confused. If they said that about this, I might not be confused. But love this record anyways. And it's just so of a time and a place for me. The Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness tour to support this record was the first like real concert I ever went to with my sister. And that was also really memorable event. Garbage opened for them, if you can imagine. And I was probably like 16 or something. And I remember that night also like it was yesterday. That was a really big deal for me at the Hampton Coliseum. So I am keeping my Smashing Pumpkins. We only have another couple of minutes to go. I've got some Who that I'm going to keep all of those. I've got some Stones. I'm going to keep all of those. Let me just tell you real quick something about the Stones, though. You know, Rolling Stone's been around forever. They have a million albums, some of which are pretty okay. But my favorite Stones album is Emotional Rescue. Also highly top tier essential albums for me is Emotional Rescue. If you're, in my opinion, if you're only going to have one Rolling Stones album, this is the one to have for sure. And then I got a bunch of Beatles, and that's probably where we're going to leave it. Other categories I haven't gotten to are garage rock, and I have a separate section for U2, and then glam and movie soundtracks. I'll have to pick this up. Maybe I'll do this again in a few days to finish the work. I've gotten rid of not as many, not even close to as many records as I had hoped that I would, but I'll get there. But my iPad is about to die. So I'll go ahead and say thanks for tuning in, everybody. It was great to hang out with you, Doug and Jugsy and Ragnarok, and anyone else that was watching at home. If you're want to share this stream with anybody that might want to look at my records or whatever, this will be live at JeremyInternational.com for forever, I guess. And I will do a part 2 where I'll finish this up. But until then, have a good night, be well, be patient with yourselves. Everybody has rough times in the world. And I'll talk to you soon.